You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Days of Our Lives fans. It is Belinda from Soap Dirt. I want to talk about Susan Banks' resurrection and how it is going to benefit Xander Cook so much and give him some much needed ammunition that he is desperate for. So in the coming days, I'm not sure if it's going to be this week or next, but within the next 2 weeks, we are going to see the last of Susan Banks for a while. She is going to pack it out of Salem and head home to Memphis and her beloved husband, Elvis impersonator Roger. But what you might not realize is that Susan's resurrection is going to be a huge boon to Xander Cook for 3 really big reasons. We're going to discuss these and how he's going to leverage her against the odds survival to get what he wants. Hey, if you haven't already, please reach down, click subscribe so you don't miss any of our day's updates. And now let's dig in. So last week, Xander Cook almost met his maker thanks to the assassin EJ DiMera sent to kill him. He was ready to take Xander and Ava Vitale's lives in retribution for Xander kidnapping and Ava killing his beloved quirky mother. But of course, it turns out Susan Banks did not die. And once EJ found out his mom survived, to his credit, he just hot-footed it right out of the DiMera mansion, ran to Dandy Zandy's place, and gave the assassin a stand-down order. The guy didn't like it, but, he eventually got it all resolved. But then Xander was making a phone call. He was calling the police, ready to press charges on EJ for taking out a hit on him, until the DiMera reminded him there were still plenty of charges that could be pressed on Xander, even though Susan survived. So Xander still, he did kidnap her. So in the end, Xander agreed to let bygones be bygones. But the first big benefit of Susan's survival is that EJ shouldn't be gunning to take Xander's life anymore. So that's one less thing for Xander to worry about. He's not having a good week. Chloe is leaving him. She's heading off with Philip, and he also doesn't need, a hired gun coming for him. So the second big reason that the Harry Scary Scott is glad that the psychic Susan survived is because Sarah Horton can't hold it over his head anymore. Remember, she really chewed him a new one and said part of the reason that she married Rex and planned to let him raise their baby was because of what he did to Susan and that Susan died. So Susan being back to life, of course, doesn't negate the fact that Xander kidnapped her for money, but official spoilers do confirm that finding out that Susan's alive softens Sarah's outlook on Xander. Of course, that outlook may harden up a little more once she finds out what he is planning to do to her. So the third big reason that Xander is absolutely thrilled to learn that Susan Banks is alive because it'll make his chances of winning a custody case a lot better. This week, Xander hires sketchy lady lawyer Sloan Petersen to represent him in the battle to win his baby daughter, Victoria Margaret. And Sloan is a good choice because she's a tough lawyer and she's not really a fan of any woman that Eric Brady has been with. And that definitely fits Sarah to a T. If you remember, Sarah's baby that died, little Mickey, was actually her child with Eric Brady. And Sloan is all upset right now and jealous because she can't have a biological baby with Eric. So what she can do, though, is help Xander try and win his baby away from the woman who would have cut Victoria's real daddy out of her life and left cheating Rex Brady as her dad instead. He's not a prize either. So one person that's going to come completely unglued when he hears all of this is Eric. He is going to be furious that Sloan agrees to take on Xander as a client. I am certain that Eric is going to not only read her the riot act, but read her a laundry list of all the crimes and misdemeanors carried out by Sloan's new client. But at the same time, I doubt that she is going to budge. Sloan loves Eric and she wants to be with him, but he is not the boss of her, especially not when it comes to her career. So by the end of next week, Xander and Sloan are putting their heads together, working on a strategy for him to not just win visitation of his baby girl, but to snatch full custody away from Sarah. The big question for me after seeing all these spoilers is who is going to represent Sarah Horton in this case. Justin Kyriakis might be a natural choice, but he might not want to rep Sarah after all of her lies about the baby and because Xander is a Kyriakis too. Belle Black is still in town and she's no fan of Xander, so maybe she'd take the case. But for me, I think it'd be really interesting if EJ DiMera decided to take on Sarah as a client. He is still a practicing lawyer. I mean, he shouldn't do it because Sarah once kidnapped his niece, Rachel Black, when she was a little baby, and Sarah had that mental meltdown. But I could see EJ taking the case to tweak Xander's nose and also just to rub things in Kristen's face because it's not like they're exactly chummy as siblings. So, spoilers from Paul Telfer that he leaked in a recent interview had him mentioning that Sarah and Xander were co-parenting amicably, that they weren't living together and they were not in love. So that sounds like they do work out a custody arrangement thanks to Susan Banks not being dead anymore. So we do expect things are going to warm up even more after that because Suzanne Rogers, who plays Maggie Horton, leaked that Xander and Sarah get remarried. There's no word yet on exactly when that'll be, but she said it in an interview with Michael Fairman a few weeks ago. But you have to bear in mind that Days of Our Lives shoots 6 months ahead. So right now they are filming, let's see, October, November, December, January, like March 2024. So it could definitely be, like early 2024 when wedding bells ring for the new parents. We will see. Hey guys, thanks for listening. I love talking Days of Our Lives with you guys. If you haven't already, please drop your comments on what you're excited to see happen with this Xander and Sarah situation, how you feel about Susan Banks being alive. Click subscribe if you haven't already, and definitely drop a like if you're enjoying this conversation about your favorite streaming soap opera. Thanks for listening. Come back soon. This has been Belinda from Soap Dirt. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.